Yeah, not what I expected. Expected a lot more shunning, expected a lot more exchanges. Yeah. No matchmaker on fight night, but a fight that close with a champion as great as Pereira has been, they lean towards immediate rematch? Probably.
How did you have the main event scored?
What's the question?
How did you have the main event scored?
I don't know if I had the exact score in my head, but I thought Ankalaev won the fight. I wasn't like shocked when I heard the decision.
Magomed Ankalaev hasn't lost a fight in 7 years, and finally he can call himself the best in the world.
Yeah, his UFC debut, he got caught by Paul Craig in a fight that he was winning. He got caught in a triangle from one of the best guard players in the sport, and now he's the UFC light heavyweight champion of the world against the most devastating champion we've seen in years. I mean, it's really an impressive performance by Ankalaev. He did everything he had to do. He pressured him on the feet. He showed that Pereira has a harder time fighting off the back foot. And he did what had to be done.
He did what needed to be done. And honestly, John, you said, it could be 3-1 Ankalaev. And I was like, well, I don't think so. But you were right. It was 3-1. Most judges gave the 5th round to Pereira. It didn't matter. He did a great job of implementing his game plan. He knew he needed to go forward. He knew he needed to be in his face. He was the one that hurt Poatan. He was the one that controlled Poatan. So when you really go back and watch this, it'll probably be more clear as to who won this fight. There's a lot of emotion when you're watching this fight, especially with the expectation that Pereira's going to land something that's going to change the way it's going. Tonight, that didn't happen.
This guy, dude. 3-2 Pereira. Clear. 1, 3, and 5. UFC just gave a belt to a man for literally holding someone up against a cage. Not a combat sport. Rewarding absolute cowardice in the highest level of the sport as we know it. Dumb, ugly, inbred, cousin, child marrying, freak, goblin, giant, hideous. I don't want to use gnome again. Giant, hideous. I used goblin as well. Gnome, goblin. What's another thing I could say? Cliff dwelling. No, I've used cliff dwelling too much in the past. Giant, hideous. Creature. At KSW, double champ. People forget, man. He has great regional legacy. Pay-per-view's expensive, dude. I owe you. Impression of Gay Connor. Somebody fucking sniff a line out me gooch, mate. I don't know. I can give it a 2.
Kind of some tight rounds to score as well. All 3 judges had you winning 2, 3, and 4. At the end of 5 rounds, how confident did you feel that you had won the fight?
Yeah, you know, I was confident. I kept on moving forward. I kept pressuring him, and he kept on running away from me. You know, for 20 minutes, this guy was running away from me. And then I heard at the end of the fight, he was saying that, you know, he wasn't sure why the victory was given to me. Who's supposed to be given the victory? You know, I've been pressuring him the entire time. He was running for 20 minutes, and then he's wondering who's supposed to get the victory. Listen, I'm happy for a rematch if he wants a rematch, but then maybe in the rematch he could fight for real, not just run away the entire time.
Yeah, he said he's not sure, but a rematch probably makes sense given it was close. I mean, is that the fight you want the most? And if so, how soon would you like to do it?
Yes, I never picked my opponent, so I'm very much happy and ready for a rematch. Whenever UFC offers it to us, if you know, we'll see what the date is. We'll be happy to accept it.
But make no mistake about it, this is a nightmare scenario for the UFC, and I say that only because Alex Pereira, and I was trying to rack my brain as we were getting ready to go here. Alex Pereira is arguably the most popular active fighter in the UFC right now. I stress active because Conor McGregor, as long as he's still living and breathing and still a UFC fighter under contract, he will always be the most popular, but he's not so active these days. He hasn't fought since 2021. And he just lost his title in a very close fight, and we'll weigh in on how it should have gone in a moment, to someone who is nowhere near as popular as him, not even in the same stratosphere. And I was trying to find a historical comparison to this moment. Supremely popular fighter losing the belt to a not so popular fighter. And I can't really think of one. Like, I'm thinking of RDA beating Anthony Pettis at UFC 185, but that's not really fair to RDA, and he didn't really hold the title for all that long, and Pettis didn't hold the title for all that long. I'm thinking of Carlos Esparza beating Rose Namajunas at 274, but still, it doesn't quite feel the same. I feel like this is unique. This has never been done before. This has never happened before. So, this is obviously something that was possible. This is something that we all talked about going in, the UFC's star problem, and how big of a issue this would be if it went this way, if this result actually materialized. And now here we are staring at Magomed Ankalaev as a light heavyweight champion. And guys, don't listen to me. Don't believe me when I tell you that this is a nightmare. Just look at the UFC's actions. They did everything in their power not to give this guy a title shot because they did not want to face the reality of him being a champion. Same situation with Bilal Muhammad, and the same situation ended up happening. In the end, in case you're wondering, I scored it for Alex Pereira. And that's a shoot. That's from the heart. I had it 3-2 for him. I thought he won 48-47. First round was easy to score. Alex Pereira. Second round, easy to score. Magomed Ankalaev. We'll skip the third for a moment. Fourth, easy to score. Ankalaev. Fifth, easy to score. Pereira. It all came down to the third round. I had it for Alex Pereira. It appears as though the judges here, I'm looking at it in real time. Ankalaev. They all had it for Ankalaev. You get 49-46 and 2 48-47s. I have no idea how... Did one judge not? Can we put that back up?
Round 3 was the swing. Round 3 was the swing.
No, but they all gave the who? How did Sal D'Amato get? He gave him the fifth round.
He gave him the
Get
fifth.
The fuck out of here with the fifth. What are you talking about? How's that possible? He did nothing in the fifth. He did nothing. And I mentioned in my tweet that he stuffed the takedowns. I'm not saying that that's a reason to score the round for Pereira. I'm just saying. The big talking point going into this fight was that he was just going to wrestle F him all day. In the end, he didn't take him down once, I believe. There was not one successful takedown. So all that ended up being a moot point.
I mean, that's almost, something to wear in his hat, right? That he was able to get it done against Alex Pereira without having to take him down. I think that's an accomplishment that he can tout. So you had 135, yes? It sounds like you're on the same.
I had 135. Yeah. What did you guys have?
We both had 135 for Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
I thought the third round was close. I do think Alex did the better work there. That became the swing round. I'm okay with that. Ultimately, that is a decision that I find acceptable. If you give Ankalaev 2-3-4, I'm not going to argue too hard with you. But I don't see how you give him 5. And I thought Alex won round 3.
So I know I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but I'd love to know what you guys think. I think they should just run this back.
I think you move up to heavyweight. You take this as a sign. Magomed, it's your time. Have this the same way it happened in middleweight. I lost. I'm moving on. Alex Pereira does not need a belt. And so he's done his time at light heavyweight. New challenge to conquer. I'm going to go up to heavyweight where I'm going to have a speed advantage over a lot of guys and have an opportunity to really achieve something great if I can capture a third title. That's where I would go if I was in Alex's shoes.
Okay, so let me ask you this: you're moving up to heavyweight. If you're moving up, you're fighting for the belt, or you want to fight for the belt. Yes?
I want Tom or John.
What about the winner of Tom or John?
Yeah,
sounds
does
great.
he get the belt right off rip? Now that
he's Alex Pereira.
Champion.
Yeah.
What do you mean? So you're saying that he should leapfrog Tom?
He could. I don't have a problem with it.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah, I have a hard time.
He's the interim champion. He's interim. Chama's interim champion. What are we doing? He's going to leapfrog the interim champion.
I think
I have no issue with it.
If we're making the comparison to middleweight, I think at this point he takes a fight at heavyweight before he fights for the belt.
Yeah,
I don't hate that
Yamba. I don't hate it, but I feel like there's work to be done now at 205.
Let's say he gets that done though. Let's say he wins the fight against Magomed. Then there's going to be the call for a trilogy. Like, it just feels like it overly complicates something that's
let me
more
tell you
simple.
something. The game, if he wins,
I know that he wouldn't get it. I know he wouldn't get it.
Take that W and run away.
But then what? Do you defend it again, or do you say, okay, now I recaptured it, now you go up to heavyweight? Why delay the inevitable? In my opinion, the heavyweight is always the future for Alex Pereira.
If he rematches with Ankalaev and loses again, now he's really starting to lose some juice. He's only getting older. Then you have to take a fight at heavyweight that isn't against the champion. And what if the heavyweight experiment doesn't go as well as the light heavyweight experiment, and he ends up, fighting Cyril Gane or someone and losing that fight, and now he's on a 3-fight losing streak, and you're kind of wondering what to do with him at 39, 40 years old at that point.
Alex Pereira can win this fight. You know what I mean?
I believe that for sure.
I thought he won the fight.
I know, but I'm just saying. Yeah, no, 100%. So did I. I'm just saying I don't think it's a huge risk running it back, and him moving up after losing to Izzy. There were some issues making weight. He had already beaten Izzy. You want to do this all over again? Okay, let's go for a new challenge. Although yesterday, important to note, they were posting videos of him having a really hard time making 205, and so maybe that was some foreshadowing. But I don't want to see Tom get leapfrogged, and I want to see Tom versus John. Here's what we're not saying. Maybe this ends up being a blessing in disguise for the UFC, because if John Jones is asking for a lot of money and they can't make that fight, they put together Tom versus Alex, and maybe that softens the blow.
I think that'd be a great fight.
What's that for? The vacant heavyweight title?
Yeah. No, it's
defending.
No. If you can't make the John Jones fight, then you have to strip him.
That's what I'm saying. Vacant heavyweight title.
No. Then Tom becomes champion.
Oh, Tom just becomes champ.
Yeah, same thing as what happened with GSP. GSP beat Michael Bisping. He said he had stomach issues. They made Robert Whittaker he went from interim to actual champion. I think that would be the exact same thing.
I'm open to all these options. I think it has to be heavyweight next. I just don't see it. We're just delaying. We're just delaying something that is going to happen inevitably, and I don't think a get back against Magomed does much for Alex. Like, he can jump up now. We're talking a lot about Alex, obviously.
I think, by the way, I think he's pissed. Like, that post-fight interview, he seemed pissed. I think he's pissed. Even with the translation, you see what he was saying at the end. He was like throwing some shade. He wasn't necessarily saying the better man won. I think he thinks he won as well. And so it's one thing to get knocked out. Hey, what was he? 3-1 against Izzy at that point, if you count the kickboxing fights. My hunch says he says, give me him again, and I'm gonna make this right.
The highly anticipated battle that fans have been eagerly waiting for has finally come to an end in a fierce and intense light heavyweight clash. Reigning champion Alex Pereira faced the formidable Magomed Ankalaev in the octagon to put all debates to rest. Former UFC featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski analyzes the exceptional skills of both fighters, but ultimately favors Alex Pereira. Volkanovski believes Pereira's devastating knockout power and precise striking techniques set him apart, with a level of skill that is unmatched in his opinion. While Ankalaev is undeniably dangerous, Pereira's abilities are on an entirely different plane.
Pereira and Ankalaev. This is a tough matchup for Pereira. Pereira's takedown defense is getting better and better. Pereira's confidence and understanding of the grappling, takedown defense. I don't think Magomed, even if he does get to the ground, he's going to finish him and it's going to go back to the feet. I think he's going to be able to handle that. And then on the feet, Ankalaev, great fighter, but Pereira is insanely good on the feet.
Volkanovski emphasizes that Pereira's relentless pressure and lethal striking give him the upper hand over Ankalaev. He points out that while Ankalaev attempted to go for takedowns, Pereira's defense is solid enough to thwart any efforts. This was an intense and high-stakes light heavyweight title fight.
Alex Pereira, with his kicks, he's got no tells with his kicks. And then on the counter, very good on the counter. Hard fight for Ankalaev to stay on the feet. Alex Pereira, KO. I'm going to go with TKO KO. His second or third round.
Magomed Ankalaev was determined to shut down any doubts leading up to his fight with Alex Pereira. He entered the octagon with the goal of proving his critics wrong, aiming to showcase his skills and resilience in the ring.
A lot of discussion coming into this seems to be about, whether you're going to stand or whether you're going to look to grapple against Alex. But is there something special added to that if you can knock out Alex Pereira?
I'd like to say that I see that in this fight, everyone is against me. Everyone's saying, Shama, Shama, Shama. But guess what? Shama time is over. After this Saturday night, after the fight, you will all love me.
Magomed Ankalaev felt that this fight was unlike any of his previous ones, but he made it clear that he was fully prepared for the challenge. He expressed strong confidence in his training and strategy, regardless of how the fight turned out.
It motivates me, it charges me. Everyone's against me. I'm here by myself. It's gonna be a really good fight.
I know this is a different opponent, a different fight, but what's the biggest lesson you took out of that night to make sure you don't leave disappointed on Saturday?
I wasn't upset about the last fight. I have nobody to blame. It's just myself, but it happened the way it happened. Now it's a whole different ball game. It's a different fight. It's a different opponent. And you know what? Honestly, he should say thank you to Dana White for protecting him this whole time. Now it's going to be a whole different thing.
Adding even more excitement before the fight, American boxing coach Teddy Atlas weighed in, noting that Ankalaev holds an advantage in wrestling. However, Atlas pointed out that Ankalaev's pride and confidence in his striking could turn the battle into a stand-up fight, something that would be risky against a dangerous striker like Pereira.
I expect striking because Ankalaev is a proud guy, and as good a wrestler he is, and he has the edge over Pereira, the kickboxer background, who's just a dangerous striker and kicker too. He was a kickboxer. Ankalaev has the edge. If he could get him to the ground to wrestle, maybe he'll mix that in a little bit. But I think it's going to be a striking match because Ankalaev believes in his striking ability.
Teddy Atlas anticipated a striking battle, pointing out that Ankalaev is a proud fighter. Despite his wrestling skills, which give him an edge over Pereira, a kickboxer known for being an extremely dangerous striker and kicker, Ankalaev's belief in his own striking abilities might lead him to keep the fight standing. According to Atlas, Ankalaev doesn't get enough recognition for his striking. He's strong, strategic, and knows how to close the distance without leaving himself vulnerable. However, when it comes to Pereira, Teddy described him as a different beast, praising his short left hook as pure brilliance and highlighting his devastating ability to control range.
He doesn't get enough credit for how good a striker Ankalaev is. He's strong. He's a southpaw, as I said. He knows how to close distance with his legs under him, without reaching, without leaving himself available to counters. Pereira's thing is, he's so dangerous. He's such a great puncher, and he throws a short left hook that's unbelievable. It really is. It's great.
Atlas highlighted Pereira's ability to set traps and control distance with his long punches, along with his powerful leg and head kicks, making him a well-rounded threat inside the octagon. He also warned Ankalaev that opponents often don't see Pereira's punches coming until it's too late, with many of them landing clean on the chin and resulting in knockouts.
He could do two things, Pereira. He's got good reach. He can keep you at the end of his punches where he gets full extension, and he does that great, where he punishes you at the end of his punches. Or he could let you come in. He could retreat a little bit, let you come in and throw that left hook I just talked about. It's really something. It really is. It's so short. Pop! You don't even see it.
After watching Alex Pereira's performance, MMA veteran Tito Ortiz reaffirmed his belief in Pereira's devastating power. He emphasized that Pereira's knockout ability is no joke, something Ankalaev experienced firsthand. Despite Ankalaev's toughness, he had difficulty dealing with Pereira's brutal strikes, further solidifying why Pereira is regarded as one of the most dangerous strikers in MMA.
The current state of light heavyweight division, which you obviously founded, what have you noticed in that division over the last 20 years?
They're not wrestling anymore. Guys at that level, they're just all strikers. A person to beat someone like Pereira is going to be a wrestler. Someone's going to be able to take him down, put him in the fence, smash him. If you're going to stand up and strike with Pereira, it's going to be a long night for you or a short night, one or the other. That guy's a monster, just his distance and the way he reacts on punches. I like the way when someone punches him, it's literally like moves and punches back.
Furthermore, renowned American podcaster Brendan Schaub dismissed the idea that Magomed Ankalaev is a dominant wrestler. He noted that Ankalaev rarely goes for takedowns, averaging just 1 attempt every 15 minutes. Hardly the statistics of a true grappler.
Ankalaev, Alex.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know who I got in this.
Who?
Pereira.
Oh, thank God. I thought we were gonna argue again.
No, I mean, I think Ankalaev is the killer, and they're talking about his wrestling, but, I don't think Ankalaev's fought anybody actually like Pereira.
No, anytime he's fought like a high-level MMA striker, he's never knocked any of them out. He's always won by decision. And also, Alex is a different animal. Also, the narrative that Ankalaev is a wrestler is false.
Schaub emphasized that Ankalaev has never knocked out an elite MMA striker. Each time he faced one, he only won by decision. Against a different caliber of fighter like Alex Pereira, Schaub made it clear that Ankalaev sees himself as a striker, but standing with Pereira is a risky game. He didn't hold back, stating that while Ankalaev has gone toe-to-toe with top strikers in the past, Pereira operates on a whole different level, not just good in MMA, but world-class elite.
He can, sure. And I think Ankalaev, in his heart of hearts, he considers himself a striker. He's gone toe-to-toe with some of the top strikers in the division. Yeah. All good. But when you're fighting Alex, who's world-class, he's not MMA good
not
striker,
on the level of
world-class, it's going to turn Ankalaev into a wrestler. Those leg kicks, the body kicks, he sees the speed, he's like, oh. And so he'll attempt to do it, and he gets knocked out.
Schaub pointed out that Ankalaev's striking tends to be predictable, as he often falls into the same patterns. Despite having opportunities to take control, he didn't capitalize on them. Schaub also dismissed the notion that Ankalaev could dominate with wrestling, noting that while he's strong, he hasn't demonstrated the ability to effectively impose his grappling against top-level strikers. He acknowledged that Pereira's takedown defense has shown significant improvement heading into this matchup.
It's like assuming every Brazilian knows jiu-jitsu. They don't.
But the other thing is, like, even if Ankalaev does take him down, now what? There's a whole,
You know how many submissions he has?
Zero.
So.
Yeah, that's right. So
I think, does Ankalaev give him down? Yeah, probably. Maybe once, but I think eventually for 25 minutes he's gonna get knocked out. Me and the UFC brass are praying to God Pierre wins this fight. If Ankalaev wins, dude, it's a disaster. Straight up disaster.
Yeah. Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev gave it their all, leaving everything in the octagon. From brutal exchanges to high-stakes moments, this fight lived up to every expectation. Whether it was Pereira's elite striking or Ankalaev's grappling attempts, both fighters had their shining moments. Now, the question is, what's next for the champion, and where does Ankalaev go from here? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.